button. And button. Now we're good.
Yes. Well, hello there. Hopefully, I have sound.
I pushed the button. I made sure.
You,
I
yeah,
did check it.
yay! Then I do have sound on. Well, hello there. We're back and we're doing a live stream because we're cool like that. And also, we didn't have time to record anything. And also, we had to watch the series to talk
Mm.
about it. So yeah, but we're back. And before we get into Echo, I figured, and while we're waiting for people to come around, I figured we might as well talk a little bit about the Golden Globes because that just happened,
It's true.
and I don't know about you, but I was quite pleased with it.
Mm. I still have beef with the Golden Globes, just generally speaking, as an institution.
Yeah,
Um, but I will say I was pleased with a lot of the results that came out of it.
yeah,
Uh,
especially like the Succession and everything.
yes, I am annoyed that Nicholas Britell still didn't win for original music because that's a fucking crime. Have you heard the soundtrack to Succession? It is incredible.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah. You mean that? Okay, I
it's
was like a bit lost for a second.
it's such a phenomenal soundtrack, which really deserves its dues. But
Yeah,
hopefully, it will get some at the Emmys.
you can never know. It can happen. It can definitely happen. I was mostly happy about all the Oppenheimer wins. I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
gonna lie. I'm like Killian Murphy is the best and Robert Downey Jr. is the best. So like yes,
I take it you saw the speech that Robert Downey Jr. gave for
of course.
Killian, not at the Golden Globes. I can't actually remember what the event was, but it was very sweet.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, but like I knew they were besties. Like they have to be besties.
It's just such peak introvert, um, extrovert energy from the two of them.
Oh yeah.
It's just like I'm
Oh.
going to compliment you a bunch. It's like stop talking about me.
Yeah, yeah, it's very very fun to watch them do anything. Like they did the round table now. What it's
Yes,
not the
I know
round
that.
table.
No, the actors roundtable did go out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if. Oh no, it was there was the LA one. There was the LA Times one. The actual
Yes.
like Hollywood Reporter actors roundtable went out today. I don't think it's got Killian in it. I I,
Should have.
I don't think it does.
No.
I'm finding out right now.
All right.
Except
Check
they've
it.
stopped calling it the round table. They've started calling it off script.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
they've got
right.
like a presenter and everything, and I'm like, why are you here? I don't need it. I'm just here for the people. No, Mark, I don't need you talking to me right now. Yeah, no. It's Andrew Scott, Coleman Domingo, Jeffrey Wright, Mark Ruffalo, Paul Giamatti, and Robert Downey Jr. So there's no Killian.
Okay, man. No, that's so sad. I mean, it's still great, but that's so sad.
That's a I remember I did see a clip of this on Twitter the other day, and I was like, this is a really good fucking table.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's excellent. I saw a clip of Paul Giamatti talking about the best role of his life, which was Planet of the Apes, and I was like, I was dumbfounded for a second. I was like, was he in the new one? No, he wasn't. He's in the Tim Burton one. But I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what? I should know about this.
I watched a bunch of stuff recently. I watched Sideways in order to prepare for the leftovers, not the leftovers. Brains in the wrong place. The holdovers coming out.
Oh yes,
And I hadn't seen Sideways before, and I really liked it. It's still
Sideways
it's
is
a
good.
weird movie. You know, it
Yeah,
wasn't really what I was. I don't know what I was expecting it to be, but I don't know if I was expecting it to be. I don't know. I had trouble deciding how exactly I felt about it.
mm,
I think mostly because I just didn't like Jack as a character
that happens. That happens.
because he kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
and Paul Giamatti's very good in it, obviously. So, and I'm still very excited for the holdovers. I want to see Poor Things this week, but I don't have any money.
I feel you on that one.
So that one's gonna have to be put on the
Waitlist.
yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it'll still be there in about a week when I should have a bit more cash on hand.
Yes.
It's fine.
Here's
Uh,
something. It's okay. It's good.
um,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah.
it was. I didn't watch the show itself,
Mm.
but I like the winners. I'm not gonna lie. I was especially happy that Billie Eilish won. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that song.
A
Like
lot of love
I
for
yelled about it.
Io, and
Yes.
I don't know if you saw all of the because all the tabloid press people post winning and on the red carpet kept showing the
Yes.
cast of the Bear, all of Jeremy Allen White's Calvin Klein stuff, and I was just like, stop showing me this. That is he is my co-worker, and I'm like, I love her so much.
To be fair,
Put it away.
I saw a TikTok and at first I didn't understand it. I was like, the caption was like, all of us women in the best day yesterday or something like that.
Mm.
And then I realized the date on it, and it was the date when they released the pictures. And I was like, you know, that's true. Not even denying. I was like, excuse me, sir.
I know. It's one of those things where I'm like, now.
Sir, excuse me.
I identify in a very specific way, but Jesus.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Okay. But I love her so much in the way she was just like, because they pulled out like a massive cardboard like printout of it, and she just went, "I'm putting this away."
Understandable. Anyway, yeah, it was good. I was a bit surprised that the Last of Us, especially Pedro didn't win, but like,
I'm not.
I know you're not.
Listen, listen. Pedro has another season to get his hands on, the awards. I need. Kieran deserves this. He really
I know
does.
you've been yelling about it.
I've been yelling about it. You've been yelling about Billy. I have been yelling about Kieran. He really does deserve it, and it's his last opportunity. He doesn't need it. Nobody needs awards, but I want to give it to him.
They did, and it was very funny. The bit that they
very,
did with
immediately
Pedro.
made a meme.
Yeah, I was like, well done. I'm proud of you. So yeah, excellent winners. I am now interested to see what the Oscars will do, because we know that a lot of times they go off script of what we're expecting, and I'm hoping that they're not gonna go off script too much, because like there are two people who needs to win, and that's Killian and Robert Downey Jr., and I won't let that go. And I will be very pissed if Robert Downey Jr. won't win. I'm just putting it out there.
I have this inkling, and I'm happy to be wrong, because I think
Yes.
Best Picture tends to be more surprising than most people think
That's
it
true.
is going to be. I have a feeling, just in my gut, Past Lives might take it.
Maybe.
It might take it, and I'd be very happy if it did.
Yeah. It would be a good choice. Like I wouldn't complain.
Mm.
Just as a movie
I
that
watched-
shouldn't take it.
I watched it again the other day, and it's still stunning.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really good.
yeah, I'm very glad. I'm very happy with that being my pick of my favorite film of last year, because I was right about that one.
It's a good movie. It's a
But
very
like
good movie.
before that, we do have the Emmys on Sunday, so
That's true. And they already like did what is
the
it called?
Creative
When
Arts
they-
Emmys.
Yes. And I mean, the last ones did
They did very
a
well.
ton of things. I was like, okay, well done, team. Also, before we move on to Echo, I just want to put it out in the world quickly, and I keep forgetting that the camera is here, so I
I
should
know
be
you're
looking
in a
this way.
different
Yes,
space.
I am in a different, because I changed my setting and I'm like, where's the camera? Oh, here it is. Anyway, I want to say, I told you so, because they just announced who's going to play Dina in The Last of Us Part 2. And, we had this argument on the Rest of Us podcast that they already showed Dina. And I was like, no, they didn't. That wasn't her. Shut the fuck up. And I was right. Because it's not the same actress.
I mean,
So shut the fuck up.
I will say that many times that they will put somebody in as just like a placeholder. You could still headcanon it that way, but they obviously did. Well, I don't think they were going to cast that early on for that character. That's kind of
That's what I said as well. Like, there's no way that they already cast Dina and, it's the first season. And it's like, no, that wasn't her. Done. I am very happy with the casting of Abido, with Caitlin Dever. I originally wanted her to play Ellie, but like, you know, this is a win.
Mm,
I don't mind. We'll see. We'll see
mm.
next year. Next year. But let's move on why we're here today, and that is to talk about the only Marvel show that is coming out this year.
Mm.
The only one? Yes,
I
it is
think
the
it's the
only
only
one.
one.
It's the only one, and we only gonna have one Marvel movie this year. That's like
And it's not
MCU
even
movie.
like, I mean, I guess technically it is, but it's kind of, it's a weird one.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about Echo that just came out with a bit confusing timing because everywhere they were yelling that it's night,
I
and then
I think what they did was they put it out early in America, but over here it was like, in Europe it still technically was the 10th. I think they put it out a couple hours earlier as opposed to midnight where they usually drop it.
yeah, maybe.
Which doesn't help the rest of us, but all right.
We're just gonna deal with it. It's okay. Before we go into spoiler talk, that's the word I was looking for. Give me your overall thoughts, just like as a whole.
I liked it. I don't know if I thought it was like, you know, supreme television or anything like that. But I thought it was. I thought it was good. That's kind of where I've been getting. I keep trying to explain this to people. I'm like, it was good. That's kind of as far as I get. I've got not even issues, but like criticisms, I guess,
Mm.
like small, like minor things. But I think, oh, I looked up how to say her name properly. Uh, Alaqua. Thank you. Brain Alaqua Cox was incredible, and is a very strong addition to this sort of unit. And I loved all of the use of the Chactal Nation, and like just how pervasive that was in the entire plot and how important it was. That was all wonderful and rich and beautiful to look at. I love the use of sign language in anything. I always am fascinated by it, and I'm like, I really, it reminds me how much I want to learn sign language because it's so like I'm decidedly somebody who gets that feeling of like wanting to mimic what's on screen, just like intuitively in my bones. That kind of feeling of like when you come out from a cinema and feel like you should be able to have superpowers. That kind of a feeling. I get that very strongly.
Yeah.
So when there's lots of people doing sign language for a long time, my brain goes, "You could do that," and I'm like, "No, I don't actually know what any of the words are."
Yeah, I feel you on that.
But I love that entirely. Yeah, I've got a couple of like other bits and pieces that I'll go into a bit later. But overall thoughts, I liked it.
Great.
That's kind of as far as I get.
Yeah. I'm the same. I really enjoyed it. Like, I don't think it's anything groundbreaking because
No.
it's not. But like, it was very enjoyable. I was interested in the characters.
I'll caveat that a little bit. It's groundbreaking in the representation space, I think, in
Yeah,
terms
yeah,
of like
but
where
like
it is within but like storytelling wise, yeah,
you
no,
know
it's
what I mean.
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I'm not talking about the deeper thing that is great in it, but I'm like, it's like it's good. It's more like
That's kind of the vibe, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it's good.
it's more like a movie in my eyes,
Mm.
and then like even if you put together the time
It's
on
about
every
the length
episode,
of Killers of the Flower Moon,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, exactly. So I was literally I started it early in the morning and I was finished way before lunchtime. So I was like, yeah, good. And I would, I didn't want to, turn away or do something else. So it was good. that really is like, I there were parts that I especially enjoyed, like, and I have a very high praise for it that I don't give out too easily, but I do have one very high praise for it, and we're gonna get into that with the spoiler talk. So yeah, that's our overall thoughts, and forgive my looking around, but like camera
It's not where you
screen, so
keep
that's
the penis.
yes, yeah, so that's why I'm like, that's Katie. I have to look at Katie from time to time and then just look into the camera. So yeah, we're gonna talk we're gonna talk, but we're gonna get into the spoiler talk now. So if you haven't watched Echo just yet, then
Come back
go
later.
watch it and then come
Or
back
just
when
spoil the whole thing. Do what you
yeah, or
like.
whatever you feel like. We're not gonna tell you what to do, but like spoiler talk is coming in. So let's get into it and
Properly.
let's talk spoilers
Yes.
properly.
Okay, I'll get into my first sort of I think my major criticism of the whole thing, and maybe you won't
Yes.
feel this because I don't know. You haven't didn't watch as much of the promotional material, I think, right?
Nah.
I think the promotional material ruined the vibe of this show
Okay.
because the way that they were promoting it was as this incredibly dark, gritty, mature piece of content. It wasn't. It was like they kind of put all of the stuff that was like particularly violent about it in the trailers. So by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, that was kind of. It wasn't that bad, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just that I'm like I say I'm not as sensitive. It's sensitive to that sort of thing.
Mm.
Um, but I guess that kind of fluctuates a bit. But I kind of watched it like that was kind of tame, to be honest.
Okay. I mean I haven't really watched like I think I watched like one teaser and that's it, and that got me like yes, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like I watched like a ton of stuff, but I follow a lot of the accounts and stuff, and the way that they were promoting it was like this really
Mm.
like the vibe they were giving off was just different to the way that it came out in the
Okay.
end.
Okay.
And I felt like that kind of I don't know if it didn't kill it for me, but it did kind of undercut the feeling I was hoping to
Okay.
get from it. It was a lot
Mm.
more hopeful than I thought it was going to be, especially as I thought the whole point was she was meant to be kind of not a villain so much, but
But,
like
but kind of.
kind of.
I mean, in the comics especially.
Yeah, she's like I don't know. There's a lot of I felt like her story wasn't as like hard, I guess, as
Mm.
I would have expected it to be. I think also, I think that the other kind of main criticism I have
Mm.
is, I think they let us know. Like I know we all knew that Fisk wasn't dead, right? So we all
I
knew
mean,
that that was going to be the case, right?
yeah, it's especially if you read the comics, then
But
it's
like I think that again in the promotional material they made it very obvious that he wasn't dead.
yeah.
Um, but I think that kind of again undercut it a bit because I didn't really care, I guess, about her like quest to become the queen pin. Because I didn't believe it much. I was kind of like, what are you doing? What's this?
Mm.
What's this about? I don't understand what you're going for here. Like, I wasn't bought into that as a storyline because I was like, well, all of this already feels for moot. All of this already feels moot because we already know that Fisk is going to be back before the end of the season. We've only got 5 episodes, and they're not that long. So it's kind of like this whole build up thing. It's like I can see what they're going for. It's that it is a thing of in creating character in a book I read. I know I read a book, isn't that crazy?
Oh God.
About creating character arcs. There's something that you can do in order to like create tension within a character and also just like give them a place to start and a place to end, which is deciding what the character thinks they want versus what the character actually needs. Which is this is kind of a prime. This whole show is a prime example of that, in that she thinks that she wants to take over the whole kit and caboodle, but what she needed was to go home, reconnect with her loved ones, all of that sort of stuff. I just don't know if it like actually hit it as well as I think I wanted it to.
I don't know. For me, it was pretty clear
It,
because
it was.
it just
Here's the thing: it was clear. I just don't know if it was hard enough.
I don't know. I really like from the beginning when she first said what she was planning to do. I was like, do you really want that? Like, like, are you sure about that? And I think the entire show at the beginning also made it clear that it's kind of like a I don't know what to do move on her part as well. Maybe she's not that aware
Mm.
at the beginning that it's just like a I killed Fisk. My family is kind of gone because, you know, I lost the two most important people already in my life. So, like, who cares anymore?
Mm.
And I guess I'm queen pin now, but like, you know, it's kind of like a what else am I supposed to do? Move.
Mm.
In like in I looked at it that way from almost from the beginning of the entire thing of like, you know, I don't really know what to do with myself, and yeah, that's exactly the point of it, like, because that's not what she was needing.
Yeah. I think that that is a very difficult line to walk, especially
Mm.
if you are creating a character that is actively just like making decisions based off of just sort of like, I don't know, I guess this now. It's very hard to make that compelling. You know, or just like, I can only describe it as like it didn't have the punch I wanted it to. Like
Mm.
I wanted more oomph out of it. Um, I think which so by the end of it, I was kind of like, this whole series, despite what it was kind of marketed to be, felt soft. Um,
A little bit, yeah. I would
which I'm
agree.
not against. I think it honestly the story that ended up being told was actually very lovely, and
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. But it was in direct contrast to what I thought it was going to be. So
Mm.
I've been trying to figure out how to unpack or unpick the feeling of like, this isn't what I was expecting from this thing because it wasn't what was sold to me. Versus, is that inherently making it a bad maybe too harsh of a word, but like, is that inherently making it not as good as it could have been,
Mm.
or is that just my reaction to it? Which is the
Yeah.
question that everybody should ask about all things all the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. That, to be fair, this is why I stopped watching trailers,
Mm.
except for maybe the very first one that they released for something, because I'm like, you're just gonna ruin it. Like, you know, at this point, and we talked about this in a previous episode, so you know, you can find it on our YouTube channel and or our podcast platforms. But anyway, trailers nowadays they overdo it, and at points they fucking ruin it for themselves,
Mm.
which is like, which can be disappointing. So I am like, I stopped like what 2 years now, where I'm like, first one done, and sometimes not even the first one. Sometimes I refuse to look at trailers. I don't even know what was the something that I just watched because I was like, you know, I was excited for it. I didn't care about the trailer, and I just watched it, and I was surprised by it because I didn't expect anything at all. So yeah, I think at this point I'm like, stop.
I'm in a
Like,
weird space between those two things because I find having an expectation of what I'm going to watch helps me enjoy the thing a bit more, depending on what it is. There's some things that I can go into and be like, I don't know. I think my brain works too hard trying to unpack what it is that I'm watching, what I should be getting out of it
mm,
before I can like appreciate it for what it is. So getting it doesn't even need to be like, I don't need plot. I just need a vibe. It's like like fully. I just need a vibe check. Like, what is the story? What is the vibe of the story that we're going for here? Like, I didn't know. First time I saw Fight Club, the only thing I knew about it was like, kind of the sort of, not even memes, but like the culture around it.
yeah,
Basically, the idea
yeah.
that like it's a thing. You know, men are going to be fighting in it and all that sort of stuff. I had no idea about any of the plot twists. I didn't know it about any of the soap. I didn't realize, you know, the nature of satire and the whole thing. But like, I
Hmm.
had a sense of this kind of like tone before I went into it, and I was still very surprised by it at the end. But like, knowing the tone really helps set me in the right mood to be able to like appreciate the thing for what it is, as opposed to what I keep expecting it to be. So when something gets, and it's not like I didn't even look at like that much material in the marketing. I swear to God, I think the initial, I don't even know if I watched the initial trailer. I watched a trailer the other day, that had a bunch of Daredevil content in it,
Mm.
because I was like, there's Daredevil content in this, like actual Daredevil show content in this, um, which became quite prevalent within, well, sort of. I'm still not entirely sure how much it's canonical because there's like big pieces of Fisk's story that haven't been mentioned at all that feel like they should be mentioned, but also there's a massive piece that they gave us in this, you know, series that was, you know, from Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit like, I don't, where are we standing here? I'm confused. I don't know.
I mean, they made it
Unmembling.
canon now, so
I
like
know, but like, then my question is, where's Vanessa?
somewhere floating
That's
around.
that's my that's my thing, you know, because considering how much Daredevil sets her up as like so important to her, like is the reason he does a ton of the stuff in the show Daredevil.
Yeah, but she's not important here, to be fair.
I
So
don't know, just
even
like
if
a
she's
mention of her, or like an idea that she like still exists within the canon that would help set things for me. That's all I need. I don't fucking know.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't go in that much depth. I was first of all, I was just happy that Vincent D'Onofrio is back as Fisk because he's fucking great as Fisk, and he was born to play this role.
Yeah.
Let's be fucking honest. Like, I enjoy everything he does in anything he appears in because he just understands the character so well, and it's just, you know, I would just say that he's the best Fisk that we ever got easily, and I quite enjoyed the Fisk that we had in Insomniac Spider-Man game, but like, you know,
Shout out to Travis Willingham.
but like, yeah, this is the Fisk I've been waiting for like for so long, and I will just quickly put it here. I know it's at the very end, but that post-credit scene is so fucking important. Like, if they will properly go with it, that's huge.
Yeah, I was kind of sitting there going, okay, right. For people who are watching us and apparently don't care about spoilers, in the post-credit scene, they do set up Fisk running for mayor in New York, which actually then gets me back into where I was with like how much of Daredevil is canon, because Fisk kind of has gone up. I mean, if they can keep everything in Daredevil canon and he can still manipulate the public into liking him again enough to vote him for mayor, that would be very impressive of the writing team. I will genuinely be extremely impressed, because they left him in not a like he was pretty shamed by the end of season 3. Also, he was in jail again, and we haven't explained how he got out.
Yeah, but you know, we can't forget that the blip happened to them as well.
True.
And I think that's going to be a very important part of the new Daredevil. You know, that's
one of my favorite, like, slightly wumpy headcanons that I had after we got the blip was thinking about the idea of Matt being the only one of him, Karen, and Foggy to not get blipped. Because I just think that that's ripe for like tragic potential.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We don't know when, but we're gonna find out. But anyway, back to Echo.
Yeah. So mayoral, and I'll again be very impressed if they manage to like actually hold like the Daredevil canon up properly, whilst also managing to.
They're taking their time now, so I'm
I'm putting my hands on. I'm just saying it's something that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I will quickly address the thing that's going on Twitter, and I will agree with, thankfully, the majority of people. It's like, you know, nothing's enough. People complain that you have to do too many homework to watch a freaking Marvel movie now or a Marvel show now, and now that they, you know, include those things that you should have seen in Hawkeye, you're complaining about that, like, you know, why did we need that?
The whole point isn't Spotlight's meant to be they've created a whole lot of or the idea is that they're trying to make things that you can, like, you don't need to know everything else to do this, actually. And you don't really. I finished Hawkeye because I never did. And then I ended up watching way more episodes. It turns out I only ever didn't watch the last episode. I actually watched everything up to before that, and I was like, oh, well, you know. I watched 4, 5, and 6 again, and was reminded, actually, it's pretty good. It was way better than I remembered it being.
Fucking luck, Hawkeye. Yes, go on.
But Echo really doesn't exist much beyond that. It gives you the context you need, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. I think they did a good job with including that.
We have spoken about this before. I am a big, proponent of somebody who's like, I'm finding a lot of these franchise things where you do need to watch like everything in order to understand every single character and who they're coming from. Quite frustrating, mainly in relation to Star Wars, because I've not got the you know all of the stuff that they've got going on in Star Wars. But I've been keeping up with Marvel quite essentially for the past 15 odd years. That's a weird sentence.
I think we got it.
No, just the idea that Marvel's been going on for 15 odd years. I was like, time. Yeah, it's like, but it's like, we know who all of the main players in this series are. They do a very good job of setting up Ifith's relationship with Maya,
Agreed.
actually.
Yeah.
In comparison to some other stuff where they don't do that at all.
Yeah, I think it was very well done.
I was actually quite, and I do think their scenes together are some of the most compelling stuff
100%.
in this series, especially. Although I was gonna say, especially when he pops up at a house and like invites himself in for dinner. They didn't eat. He just left.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait,
bro,
you're not
you
gonna eat the
you
food?
you brought all the food.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say more.
Nah. Yeah. I wanted to talk there, like a bigger talk, but like still, it's good.
I thought he was gonna try and like either lie about the fact that he was the reason that her father's dead, or try and explain himself to the point where she actually starts like questioning things. Like I thought that was what I thought that was going with that scene, but he doesn't do either. He just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, he made the offer he wanted to make, and then he was like, you decide. Bye.
All right, I'm gonna dip, and it's like, well, I
yeah.
want a dinner.
Yeah, I mean, but she already poured out the wine, so it's like, what are you doing? What's dinner without wine? I don't know. I don't drink wine, so I don't know why I'm asking that question.
I don't know why you're asking that question either.
I don't
gave
know.
them drinks.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, but yeah. I mean, wait, hold on. I forgot what I was gonna say. It's confusion. No, I think that it's at this point. Like I basically remove myself all of communities and everything because I just want to enjoy what I'm watching, but sometimes I just simply can't avoid the complainers, and at this point it's just that like they have to find something to complain about. They have to get into something that they can complain about. Like I block people, which I rarely do, but I'm like, you're blocked. There's this. I don't even know their names because it doesn't matter. That YouTube channel that goes off on anything that is like women led, whatever.
Oh, good, right?
Yeah, because why not? I watched one of their videos, and basically you can tell that they didn't even really watch the thing that they were talking
No,
about.
there's just women involved, so they have
Yes,
to say it's
so
terrible.
Just immediately, it's terrible. And when I saw their tweet about Echo, I was like, well, fuck you now then, because you clearly haven't watched a single minute of this show.
No, they don't care about the content.
No, not
They
at all.
just
It's
hate
just
the fact
like
that
women.
a woman can be, disabled in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Not stick thin and also not white. So.
Oh yeah. And it's already like, oh Jesus Christ. Whatever. So yeah, I just blocked them. I was like, yeah, well, fuck you then. And this is where I will bring in my high praise because I not always. That's not true, but I often have a problem with like the female protagonist that we are getting in movies and TV shows because a lot of writers think that a woman can only be very strong and badass if she constantly says that, what, because I'm a woman? Yeah, I'm a woman. I can do it. And I'm like, that's not how you write.
It's because it's written by men.
I know. Like fucking I wish that they would just go back and look at characters like, and I will keep bringing her up because she was the very first who's like proper yes, fucking Ellen Ripley, fucking Sarah Connor, Even I will even say Ali Sadler in Jurassic Park. Like, like they never
I
said
I
things like
think
this.
I think Ellie is my favorite example out of all of those because there's a thing of like there's a push to make women behave masculinely in order to
Yeah,
make them seem like stronger. There is a like, and I'm not saying that Ellie is like super hyper feminine or anything like that, but she's not like And obviously, I love Ripley, and there's a space for all these people, as they should be, because it's like you can't. There's no there's no one type of woman, funnily enough.
yeah, exactly.
But she is just like she's a scientist. She's just smart.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of miss those characters, and it's very rare when they do it right. Let's put it like that. Like for me, like I don't like characters, and I think that was my
She
problem.
doesn't like characters. You heard it
No,
here first.
no, I don't like characters like that. Okay, point is, I'm gonna get into it. It's I'm tired, so it's hard to explain myself properly. But for example, the reason why at first I didn't click with Captain Marvel was the fact that they gave things to her to say that were like, that's not how you do it. Like, I'm just gonna be annoyed at you that you think that what makes a woman strong and capable of leading, that she goes around and says things like, yeah, I'm a woman, I can't do it. And I'm like,
It's that hyper. I mean, it's the reason we both have problems with Barbie. It's that whole thing of
yes,
like, this is what being a woman means. I'm like, okay.
sure.
Alright.
All right.
She says
Fuck off.
exhausted.
Yeah, I'm like, and here Maya is a fucking badass.
She just gets on with
And
it.
and she's like, she gets on with her thing. She doesn't say I'm a woman fucking 100 times every single episode. She's just like, I'm here, I'm gonna do this. It doesn't matter what am I. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter that she's a woman.
I
She's
argue that it does, but it does it in a better way. In that it doesn't tell you that the reason that
yeah,
it shows you that. In that,
yeah.
the thing that filmmakers are meant to do, in that they're not meant to tell you what you're meant to feel about a character, they're meant to show you their emotional journey. Because I think the fact that she's a woman is actually incredibly integral to the story, but you never get that sense of like,
Yeah, like, I agree. But that's what I was trying to get
okay.
at as well. Like, I agree. I fully agree. Like, it's not like, here on this plate, this is what it is. It's like, it's there, but it's not like shoved in your face. Like, okay, I got it.
This
Like,
as textual as possible. It's like,
yes,
actually,
I
audiences are
understand.
way smarter than that.
Yes, we can understand context and things like that. You know, our brains work, even though mine doesn't work
Some
tonight. But like,
audiences, some people
yes,
don't know how to watch a film,
I know,
and it's
I
it's
know.
very evident.
I know, I know, But yeah, so that's my high praise, because like I can look at Maya and be like, fuck yeah. And I can easily put her next to legends like Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor, Larry Sadler, and thankfully the list can go on, but like my brain doesn't work, so forgive me for not
I'm
remembering character names.
I'm so obsessed with how hard she hits. That is so
Yes!
like it does mean everything to me. She
Yep.
just like I love the way that she uses her prosthetic leg as like
That's what
a
I was gonna say!
shield, and like the fact that she's like, well, I'm not gonna feel anything in this, so I'm gonna fucking use it as a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love that, especially if you pay like proper attention
To
to
the
the
way her
fight
fights,
scenes.
yeah.
Yeah, she's like constantly using that leg to like give the hardest kicks, and like it's so apparent, and I fucking loved it, and I couldn't have but remember, like, why don't you use your other arm, because sometimes I forget that it's I'm like, what the
It's
fuck,
really
Bucky?
two sides of a coin. Where it's like, yes, I have this prosthetic, but also I kind of forget that it's like, no, I'm fully aware that I lost my leg several years ago,
Yeah.
and I will fucking use it against you. It is made of some hard metal, and you're gonna feel it.
So, and it's brilliantly done, like, and and we can just jump on and say, I think we can both agree that the fight scenes were brilliant.
Fight scenes were very good. I did the one. I feel like obviously we have to bring up like now
Yes,
the her scene with Charlie
Daredevil.
as and
Yes,
Daredevil, because that was
so
so.
good.
I honestly too little.
Too little,
I'm
yeah.
aware that anymore, and it probably would have taken away from the fact that this is her story and all that sort of stuff. But like I'm annoyed that they basically told us about that before the fact. Again with the
Yeah,
marketing,
yeah,
if
yeah,
that had been like a huge surprise, that would have been sick as hell.
yeah.
Uh,
I got that spoiled because I think the first teaser I watched it wasn't in there,
mm,
and then I just basically came across it on Twitter by
mm.
accident, and I was like, wait, what?
And it happens so quickly into the series as
Yeah,
well. But it's a really good fight scene, and
it's
she's
really good.
the two of them together are very fun.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and someone wrote, and I agree. Like this is the first real time where we see Matt fight
mm,
from another perspective,
true.
and it's like how
He's
like really
scary.
scary Daredevil is because like even Maya was like,
Oh shit.
oh the fuck off, like
Oh god,
damn.
this guy's quite intense. I'm gonna get, but she was also like brilliant in that fight, in that she was like,
Oh yeah,
okay, I'm gonna create distance and get away from you.
get the guns, get anything I can, and it's like, yes, so brilliantly done. I really enjoyed all the fight scenes. Basically, I loved how smart she was with
Mm,
everything she was doing. Like, you know, like the only time she wasn't really paying attention was the train scene
mm.
when her prosthetic leg
Got
gets
crushed.
stuck, and you know that was the only time where she was like she got it injured because she wasn't really in that moment
Mm.
for a second. I think because the tracker beeped or something, like the tracker looks like it was something like that.
I enjoyed the fact that it showed how hyper vigilant she was, considering
Yes.
obviously she's deaf, and I love the way that they showed like her perspective on things. I think that
Yes.
it's really, especially that last scene in the last episode where she comes up against Fisk, and you basically see the entire scene from her perspective, getting all of the information through um, Bonnie,
Yes.
and all that sort of stuff, and only like later on getting sound back in so that we can hear.
Oh, the sound editing was
It was really
fantastic.
good. I was very impressed, and I really liked the way they did it. Yeah, I just that I did enjoy that scene. I really
Mm-hmm.
liked the way, because it took me a second to figure out what they were going for, but I really enjoyed the way that each episode was themed around a different
Yes.
ancestor.
Yep. Yep.
Going from at the beginning of the Chactal people, and like the origin story, and the fact that she was descended from Chaffa,
Yes.
um, and going through all of these different women, and all of the different like things that they embodied. I'm usually against that kind of like explicit like discussion of or like like the exposition where they because there was or where she's her mother specifically was like, here's what they all represent, because I don't think I would have picked up on that if they hadn't.
Yeah.
Like, I think it
Yeah.
was obviously there, but I was quite glad for them to be like cunning and all this sort of stuff. Okay, I get it. I got in vibe what they were going for, but I kind of appreciated
Oh
for
yeah.
once that they actually kind of like spelled it out a
Yeah.
little bit. I was
I
like,
agree.
okay, no, I appreciate, thank you for that one. um I like the fact that it showed all of it. I was also a very big fan of her scene with her grandmother,
Yes. Oh
where,
the
because I was really worried, because they sat down and they were quite cordial to each other at first, and then as she was explaining all the generations echoing, and she just sort of eventually was just like, no, I can't do this anymore. Fuck off, sort of a thing. And I was like, okay, no, that's good stuff.
yeah, very understandable as
Mm,
well. Like, it's there were some very brilliant scenes in this, and I really appreciated them. Like the respect that they handled the whole Choctaw storyline in there.
mm,
Like it was beautifully done. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like I was immediately like after finishing it, I want to know more.
mm.
I want to know more. I like I do have my own knowledge, but like it's nothing basically. So I was like, yeah, I like this. So I actually went in, and which is very, it's not rare, but like, sometimes I just don't have the time. But I went in and I looked up things because I was interested, and it piqued my interest, and I was like, okay,
Which
this is
is,
great.
the entire point of making content. Like,
Yeah,
I don't actually like the way I phrase that. Making art like this
yeah,
in order to show, people, perspectives, and cultures, and all these sorts of things that they're not necessarily going to be exposed to. Especially native cultures, which have been so fucking intentionally suppressed and like not
mm,
shown and appreciated in media.
yeah.
I think about the Lily Gladstone's acceptance speech at the Golden Globes, and I don't know if did you see her on, she was on the Hollywood Reporter roundtable for the actresses.
I haven't
um,
watched it yet.
she's fabulous in it. She's very funny. Her and Greta Lee and Emma Stone play off each other very well. And I would
Yeah.
love to see the three of them just have more conversations together. I really enjoy them. But she was talking about the fact that like growing up on a reservation, so much of like her understanding of the outside world came from watching movies.
Yeah.
So to be able to create, I don't. It just, I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes sense, obviously, to have people create stories from the cultures that they're in, to be able to and have people
Yeah.
be able to see their own lives expressed on screen. That's the whole point of, and the need for representation like that. It is not necessarily like gonna change minds, but it is going to expose people to things that they haven't seen before, which is more than not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I
Important.
agree. Like, yeah, 100% agree on that. Like, I always like when they actually care. I think that's important. But I really enjoyed that aspect of the whole thing, and it was beautifully done. I really enjoyed that part. Well, I will have my own criticism because I don't think I said anything.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So far. But the how to say this without being offensive, because I don't mean it that way, but like, I expected people to die in a
Uh-huh.
way where they are people close to Maya,
Uh-huh.
because I felt like that what it was lacking for me a little bit. And it's, obviously at the end, I think it wasn't really necessary. So I understand why they didn't choose to
Uh-huh.
go on that way. Is that Fisk is brutal
Uh-huh.
and just heartless in cases. And I was really expecting that someone will.
You make a really good point. And I think maybe that's part of where I came from, in the sense of like there wasn't enough punch for me. There wasn't a whole lot of like deadly consequence. And I know it's not like I think that there needs to be deadly consequence for something to feel like it has
Yeah, but
stakes,
like,
but it didn't feel like it had the stakes it needed,
yeah,
because I mean the only person that died was a guy that was going to sell her out for money.
yeah. And that's really it.
And that's kind
If
of
we
it.
think about,
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe in the first episode, like,
I'm gonna say something.
yeah.
I feel like if they'd killed Biscuits, that would have been a really
No,
exactly. But that's the point.
no, not biscuits.
Like, I
Biscuits is the
love
best.
Biscuits, but like I think as an innocent who was brought into this
But yeah,
situation,
I
you know
understand.
what
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, but no,
I'm glad that he didn't, obviously, because I like Biscuits.
I
Um,
love biscuits. I would have died.
as a character, and Biscuits as the food.
Very true.
um,
But we're talking about the character here, guys.
I think, yeah, no, you make a really good point. I was sat there thinking, oh, this could stray into something very intense in a way that I feel like Marvel probably aren't gonna get close to, with like the image of I don't remember the guy's name, but the one of the Fisk's like the handyman guy who was
Oh
sat on the
yeah,
top of
yeah,
that
yeah,
trailer with
yeah,
a fucking rocket launcher ready to destroy, like blow up an
yeah,
entire, and I was like, that's a bad image. That unless you really are gonna dig into that, you don't want to go there. And
yeah.
it's like
I
obviously they aren't gonna dig into that.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, it's gonna be a very close call, but they're
Mm.
just not gonna do that. And then they have Biscuit murder a bunch of people sitting in the van. I was like,
I was like, okay,
damn.
question, where did he get the monster truck from? That's the main question. That's like the entire question. Where did he get that from?
But that I think that's my biggest problem with it, basically. Which, like, obviously, my reaction says it all. Biscuit is the best. Like, I loved all of the characters that they introduced, and it would have hurt. I think that would have been very important. But then also, if you look at the end, kind of, where Maya realizes that, because one of the main messages that you have to let go of the things that pull you down and pull you back, and just keep you in this cycle of revenge and whatnot. And I think I know that not everyone vibe with it, but I completely vibe with the fact that instead of trying to kill Fisk again,
she tried to help him.
Yeah.
I was really worried that it was going to work, because that was going to really, like, because I was like, well, you don't want to, like,
she got close.
She got close. I liked the fact that they shook him rather than it, like, actually helped him.
Yeah.
I think that's the fact that he was like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of a vibe of just sort of like, whatever's going on here, I'm not dealing with that. Like, I'm not dealing with the Trump kind of vibe.
But I definitely like that she was trying to see the possibility there,
right?
And it was like, it was so important to her character, and it was important to everyone to see that Fisk is not gonna be that easy to turn around,
right,
at all. Like, I loved, like, it was very traumatizing to hear the banging on the wall and see it crack and everything, and it's like, seeing Fisk being like, oh god, like, what's happening, where's the hammer? Basically, just immediately. And it's like, oh, so that I really enjoyed that part. I think they did it brilliantly.
I very much specifically on the fact that, like, it's not that easy to let go of, like, that much trauma in a sense, but and the only reason that Maya was able to move, and even then it's not like she's, like, moved entirely past it, but, like, let go of a lot of things, was because she was finally in a place where she was able to accept as a it's not like if she this happened to her, while she was still looking for Ronan, she would have never gotten it's like, you have to be open and ready for the ability to heal. Like, you have to be the one to take the step. You can't force it on anybody. And that's quite an important thing. What was I going to say? I texted you a couple episodes in because they kept playing clips of Fisk talking about the fact that he was like, somebody killed my father, I know how you feel. I was like, bitch, you did that. You killed your father. That was you. So the fact that they did actually, like, take that and turn it into something, I was like, oh, thank God. So this isn't just them, like, pissing about, because it could have very easily have been them pissing about. I
was worried. Trust me, I was worried as well. I was like, wait, hold on.
I was like, hold on a fucking second. And I think especially because I'd seen that there was that promo, like I said, that very intentionally highlighted his childhood and when he killed his father. I was like, you did that. That was you. I remember. I had to Google it as well because I was like, no, it wasn't his mother. It was definitely his dad.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But yeah, I was just sitting there like, I appreciate him trying to give her the hammer and being like, hey, look, here you go. Here's all the source of my trauma. And she's like, I don't fucking want this. Stop trying to put this on me.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I love their conversations. Like, it was.
They're very, very entertaining together.
Yes, and it makes sense. Like, all the things that they talk about, it just makes sense, and it's not like, yeah, we should put them together in a room. I don't know what to do with them. It happened before in TV shows and movies. So I'm like, I'm always a bit worried, but I'm glad that they were like, we understand.
There has to be an intention when you do something like that.
Yeah, and it worked. It really worked. I really enjoyed, like, many people are like complaining, which is like, what were you expecting? That Fisk wasn't in it enough. I think he was.
I think he
I
was in
think he
it the right
played.
amount, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I think he played a very important part,
Mm.
and he had the perfect, like, time frame to do that, and they did it very well. And
I the only thing that I think would have worked very well for it is if they didn't show us that shot of him in the hospital at the end of the first episode, and
oh yeah,
they kept it like mum right up until he showed up at her house. I think that would have been way more impactful. So you're like, oh fuck, he's here. Oh god, I thought he was dead. Oh no. And like, if we could all live under this delusion that like actually he might have genuinely died and we don't know what happened to him, or like we just generally speaking we don't know what happened to him, and then suddenly he's there and he's like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
oddly fine.
yeah.
Uh, I I have a real thing about like when characters are like, I'm gonna kill you, and then they just shoot them like in the worst possible place. And it's like, well, you didn't make sure he was dead if you wanted him dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like you shoot them in the face. She did shoot him in the face, but she did that thing of like, you know,
I'm done.
I
Bye.
think about fucking Raul Espana I can't remember how to say his last name. In Hannibal, because he got
Yes.
shot in the face, but like he got shot like in the face.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
again. Okay, the only other like, and this is like a nitpick kind of a criticism. They keep not giving people good enough like scars.
Oh yeah, you told me about
I
this. Yeah.
was like, come on, he got shot in the face. Why are you making him look all? I understand that like on a character level, he wouldn't want to have that kind of like
Yeah. That's an explanation for that.
yeah. It's just, but that's like after Punisher,
Yeah.
it is kind of like just fuck their faces up a bit. Come on.
Exactly. That's my complaint a lot of times. So I'm like,
Mm.
just do it. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like, I think we're on the same vibe levels with this series. I did really enjoy it. I'm not even gonna pretend I didn't, because I did. It was like, again, it was like a nice long movie, basically.
Mm.
I don't agree with those who say that it needed an episode 6, and I
I don't
think
think so
it
at
was,
all. I think it
yeah,
stayed for exactly as long as it needed to.
yeah, exactly. I think it was very self-contained, and I love that it's street level again,
Mm.
because I do like when they do that, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with Maya in the future. It's I love the characters that they introduced in this. It's they painted a very exciting future for Fisk as well, which is like yes. So overall, like I will give it like it had problems, because I'm not gonna say it didn't. Like I think my major beef with it is definitely that I know it sounds stupid, but there were no really deaths or anything. That would have been like a bit more damn.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's kind of there was a sort of a lack of setting of stakes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's my biggest beef. So if I would have to rate it, I would give it like a solid 7.5
Ah, I was
out
gonna
of
say the
10.
same actually.
I think that's completely fair with it, and
Mm.
good, well done. And if they keep taking their time, which seems like that they
Mm.
thankfully do, I think it can get back on track. I'm
Mm.
not gonna lie, like and looking back at the past year, like Loki, the Marvels was very enjoyable. Like yeah. It wasn't as big as like previous movies, but I think it was enjoyable and fun. We had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that was good. So it's not all that bad. And
Mm.
there's gonna be hiccups on the way, and I hope they can correct their ways and go back to where everyone is fucking excited when the MCU is coming around. So yeah, we shall see with Deadpool 3 as well. I'm still fucking excited for that one. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on everything.
I concur.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, I'm with you there. I don't really think I have anything else to add on that front.
Yeah, it's like well done.
Yeah,
That's
so good.
basically it. Yeah. Alrighty. We're gonna be back next week. Not with a live stream, but with something that's been long been in the making, and you know, we're finally there. Basically, we share a love for Toby Stephens, and I told Katie that I really love Lost in Space, and then Katie told me that you know, she really loves Black Sails, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. She hadn't seen Lost in Space, and then someone did the watching very early on, and someone didn't. But now I did. So we're gonna do that, and we're
the
gonna
next couple of weeks.
Yes, we're gonna start with Lost in Space next week, and then we're gonna talk about Black Sails, and after that, I know, and after that we're gonna review Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which is gonna be another live stream.
There's a nice little connection between Percy Jackson and
I just watched that episode. Yes.
No, I do not even like that. The writer, the main writer for Percy Jackson is the guy who created Black Sails. John Steinberg. It's the same guy. It's the same creative process, and I mean, we'll get into it properly here, but like, here's a little fact, a little trivia piece. There was a quite a popular sort of watch along podcast that came out as just before it started airing, just before season 4 of Black Sails came out, with these two women, one of whom was named Daphne Olive. It became quite popular within the fandom. It did a lot of very intense, deep divey bits and pieces into every single episode. Did all these things about thesis statements. Had a lot of interviews with the cast and the creators of the show. Daphne Olive is now a staff writer on Percy Jackson.
Oh,
so there you go.
Nice. Well done.
Little connections everywhere. But yes, I mean, we'll talk about it. But like, so much good content. It makes me endlessly nervous that you haven't told me anything of what you thought about it. And I know you're doing it on purpose.
I am.
And I'm sitting there like, oh no.
There's no texting all the time. I was like, I'm just gonna shut up and just
tell me that. I mean, I had a sense that you were finishing it, getting on with it, and then you suddenly were like, we're gonna be talking about it this month. I was like, oh my gosh, she's finished.
I did. That's all you're gonna hear from me for now.
It's like, usually I'm like, stop telling me your thoughts on things, and now I'm like, you're not gonna. No, okay. It's
not
fine.
This time.
It's fine.
Tick tick tick.
Anyway, I have to remember what happened in Lost in Space because I watched it a year and a half ago.
Anyway. So anyway, so that's the plan. So you all know. But yeah, and you know, since I shocked Katie the last time we were here, and Brian as well, with the information that M. Night Shyamalan wrote Stuart Little.
You got more?
I have another one for today before we close it off. The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, is 10 years old this year.
Huh. Oh god, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was
let that sink in.
I would have
10.
Do you know what else? Shrek 2 and Shaun of the Dead are both only 20 this year. I win.
We're old. Anyway, I am definitely.
We're not old. You're not old.
I am.
You're in your 30s. That is not old.
But every time I'm hearing these numbers and realize how much time has passed, I'm like just feeling like getting like Matt Damon in Saving Private Ryan. I'm suddenly like, just getting visibly old. Anyway, that was us.
Time has passed.
Yeah, time has passed. Jesus Christ. This was us for today with the Echo review, and we're gonna be back next week. Take care and watch movies.
I'm going to put the stream starting page back on. It's not starting. It's ending. We really need to make a stream ending.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I will.
Anyway, goodbye everybody.